so. You shine so bright, so out to me that you don't know. You make me feel like I wanna dance. You make me feel like I wanna dance. Lights so bright, like the glow I see right round your soul. You shine so bright, so out to me that you don't know. You make me feel like I wanna dance. You make me feel like I wanna dance.
Please take your seats. Our program is about to begin.
I'm Kevin O'Connor. I work with a team at this old house that rebuilds old homes. When people run away from disasters,
Hurricane Ian is moving in our direction.
This will be a heavy rain event that could impact life and property.
these are the men and women who run towards it. Most of them spent years volunteering to serve their country.
I'm watching this disaster unfold and feel an urge to help.
The damage is astronomical, beyond belief.
Everything's just tore up.
And I said, I think I should go down there.
Their mission is to help the neediest.
Let's do it.
They call themselves Team Rubicon.
I started calling Marines that I'd served with. We inspired and launched this movement that would become an organization.
Come with us as we help those in need.
The water line, it picks up around here.
It's going to be moldy.
Look at all that mold.
150,000 volunteers responding to literally hundreds of disasters a year. A lot of folks are becoming a better version of themselves.
We're here for you.
Jen took the lead and did an assessment of the damage, then quickly devised a game plan.
We'll secure the tarp and then probably put the flashing over it.
Boy, you guys are professional.
People who volunteer their time to help total strangers. There's nothing really more touching than that.
We do two things. We do hard work, but we also do heart work.
People coming up to me in tears, calling me an angel. I'd never been called an angel my whole life.
At the end of the day, our mission is to help people. And that's what matters most.
Please welcome to the stage the president of the Ford Motor Company Fund, Mary Culler.
Welcome everyone to World Headquarters in Dearborn. This is such an exciting day. We got lucky with the weather, so that's the good news. But I'm really thrilled to be here because this is a fantastic day to talk about a partnership that we've had for many years with Team Rubicon, which you're going to learn more about. You saw the video, but they're an amazing veteran-led organization. And what I want to do is just welcome them here today, including the volunteers that have actually been out in Detroit doing what they do best and helping out. So if you all could stand along with the Ford volunteers who've been in Detroit together. Thank you. They showed up this morning dirty and just, you could tell they had really been in it. So I really appreciate all their efforts. I would also love to welcome Art delaCruz and Bill Ford today, who of course are our special guests. And so in a minute, I will bring them up and we'll have a terrific conversation. When you think about what we do at Ford, we really always show up in a time of crisis. And I think we do that exceptionally well. When we think about Team Rubicon, they do the same thing. And so as we continue to think about the work that we do together, this is just an awesome opportunity to expand that. So one of the things that we started to think about as we thought about our partnership is we had for years supported them with funding and with capacity building. But what we really wanted to do was to merge the company's sort of might, these amazing products that we make, right, with our philanthropic experience. And so what we're announcing today is an incredible partnership that not only brings that philanthropic funding to Team Rubicon, but also donates 17 vehicles to Team Rubicon to do the great work that they do. This is a $5.8 million investment. And along with the wonderful opportunity to provide that $5.8 million investment, each of these vehicles is really purpose-built for the kind of work that they do, and we'll get into that a little bit. But first, what I want to do is also just because the volunteer component of what we do is so important, I want to say hello to some volunteers that we have beaming in. I want to say hello to our volunteers in Detroit, who some of them are here, but we still have some on site.
Okay, we're ready to go. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, team.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Great. How are you guys doing?
We're great. We're great. Well, thanks for being out there on site. We're going to come back to you in a minute.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I wanted to say hello to our folks in Houston as well. Houston? There's Houston.
Good morning.
So what's great, as you can see, is you see the Team Rubicon volunteer, but you also see the Ford Fund volunteer, which I think is a great pairing. So we're super excited about that. So this, like I said, is just an amazing day. We're going to have a fantastic conversation with Bill and Art. But before we get to that, I really want to take an opportunity to show you a video.
For years, the Ford Motor Company has been supporting Team Rubicon, a group of veterans on the front lines of disaster relief. Now, we're helping them with a major philanthropic investment. And reinforcing their operations with a dedicated Ford fleet of Broncos, F-Series trucks, and F-150 Lightnings. Helping them respond faster, getting them to the places most can't reach, and getting people in those places back on their feet. We're helping Team Rubicon serve those in need.
Come on up.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Morning.
So good morning.
Hi, Mary.
This is fun.
Definitely.
Actually, I had a lot of time with Art yesterday, and we also got to have dinner last night, which was really fun. So we're going to get into a little bit about Team Rubicon. But what I wanted to start with first is, I have the honor of leading the philanthropic work at the company. But so much of that comes from just our history, the fact that we have always shown up in a crisis. And I thought it would be great to hear from you just over the years how we've done that and why it's so important to you in the company.
Yeah, well, let me just start with our family names on every product we sell. And so nothing is more important to me than our reputation. Nothing. And nothing is more important underneath that than the values of our company, because that's what makes our reputation. And you've seen it year after year, time after time. I mean, through 2 world wars, we were the arsenal of democracy. When COVID hit, we were the first company to jump right in, turn all our facilities over into making PPE equipment. Not all our facilities, but all the ones that were needed to making PPE equipment. And that was masks, gowns, respirators, ventilators. And of course, with Ford Ingenuity, we were using actually parts from the F-150 to make the ventilators in big numbers. So it's what we do. Whenever our country needs us, we're there. And so that takes different forms. World wars, yes. COVID, yes. Team Rubicon, of course. I love what you do, Art. A veteran-led organization really it makes me so proud on 2 counts. One is the fact that you are veterans, and 2, the fact that the work you do is making a huge difference in people's lives. And so, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you're doing.
Well, I will echo that. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, and a little fun fact, and I see Jim Bombeck here today, so thank you, Jim, is that you referenced the COVID time and just our sale of some of this PPE equipment, and a lot of that money went into a fund, and we always thought that funding should go back to giving back to the community, and so that funding is actually helping us provide these vehicles to Team Rubicon, so I really want to thank Jim and his team for that. But as we think about Team Rubicon, I'd love to hear from you, Art. I know you have an incredible personal story, just how you got involved in this organization and what this organization means to you.
Yeah, so it's an absolutely incredible organization, and it's more incredible when we have partners join us in the field to do the amazing work we have to do. Team Rubicon's a veteran-led humanitarian organization, and we want to be there before, during, and after natural disasters or crises. And because of partnerships like this, we're able to take that kind of military ethos, that idea that belonging to a community, having an identity, and having an incredible purpose can be used after you take the uniform. So, the people that have worn the uniform, they build up these muscles and they say, I was built to serve. How can I find an outlet to continue to do that? And how can I also bring more with me on that journey? And it's about volunteering. It's about upholding the brand, as Bill talked about. Team Rubicon should be ubiquitous with service and selflessness. And also, I think, a component of serving self as you do it. And I think if we're upholding our obligation to the disaster response space, we do the same things you do. During COVID, we had to surge as well. We made a decision that we weren't just going to survive COVID, we had to thrive in it. And just like the incredible initiatives that Jim led, we said we can do our part as military veterans to understand vaccination distribution. We can use the skills that we had in the military in situations, with maybe chem bio to do the same things against this emergent virus. And I couldn't be more proud of this opportunity as a military veteran to be able to reconnect with something that's so important to me, and it's nested in service.
Well, so we are the most American of all the companies. We make more vehicles here, we employ more Americans, actually at a penalty to us financially for doing so, but we're happy to do it. Because and part of that is also supporting vets. What you've done for our country, we can never thank you enough. And so, anytime we can give back to and help you, we'll be there. But I actually have an ask of you. You mentioned Jim Bombeck, who I know you had dinner with last night. If you could feed back to Jim the products when they're in their field, how are they doing? What could we be doing better? What doesn't work? That's all really important to us because these vehicles, yeah, they do the work that you do, but they also do the work that so many other people do. And your insight, your knowledge, because you're going to put them through the most extreme situations, right? And so anything that you feel they either do exceptionally well, we'd love to hear, but maybe even more importantly, where they don't, and where we could be better. If you could feed that back to Jim, that would be huge.
Yeah, you have my promise, and I know we have a bunch of shy, demure gray shirts here, and they never have an opinion, and they never have an idea how to do things better. So that's part of our DNA, right? Yeah. Good is not great, so let's pursue great. And we know, and we had the challenge issued last night about how do we get this truck number 1 behind us in the museum? How does it have this incredible story of innovation and taking new technology and continually evolving the product, and not just the product, I think that's important at this moment in time, how it's applied. For those of you who don't know, tornadoes rip through Mississippi, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida. Today we have gray shirts that are running through these communities. These communities have been disconnected from the grid. They don't have power. Their food is rotting in their refrigerators. They're spending the night in the dark. And you bring innovations like this behind me, you bring these generators on wheels, and we have the ability to power our volunteers who say we can use battery-powered tools now. We can have lights at night to do safe cuts and promote all of these different safeties. We can provide some comforts for our volunteers, but it's all because of the innovation that happened here. And you have my word that our volunteers and the people we'll serve will always keep our eye on how to make the incredible work that Ford does here in building products that this country is using, making them better, because we'll see it in our ability to serve communities.
Thank you.
Well, I know that you talked a lot about volunteers, and what I actually think is really interesting is that, Bill, your history and sort of your experience with something that happened in Turkey, right, which was, of course, a crisis, a disaster crisis, led to our experience with volunteers, and I'd love for you to tell that story.
Yeah, I actually should back up to the day I joined Ford Motor Company in 1979. My very first day at work, there was a sign up on a bulletin board to go visit Children's Hospital, and I think there were 6 places you could sign up, and all 6 were filled, and then there are like 20 names below hoping to get in on that. And every time I saw a sign up for something like that, it was always the same. So in my head, I thought, if I'm ever in a position to actually make this real and institutionalize it, I'm going to do it. Well, to your point, it came in I think it was 99, when there was a horrific earthquake in Turkey, and we had a lot of employees there, and everything was wiped out. Our plant, most people's homes, it was awful, just awful. In fact, our plant went from making vehicles to becoming a portable morgue, became a temporary morgue and making portable toilets. But we had so many employees around the world asking, how can I help? And we didn't have any way for them to help. And I thought, okay, this is the moment. So I started the Volunteer Corps, which allows our employees on company time to go off and do whatever they think is important. Big things like disasters, small things like work in their community and maybe it's fixing up a community garden. But whatever they feel is important, we want them to be out there and doing it. And of course, human resources initially said, oh, no way can you do this, blah, 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 blah. So we got through all that. And one of the nice things is I was in a position to ignore all of that.
Right,
exactly. And I did. And we got it up and running, and it's a great thing, and it's something I'm actually incredibly proud of. But what happened was then COVID hit, and people stayed home. And I think we lost a little of that momentum on volunteerism, so we want to get it back.
Yeah, I love that, and that's exactly. And to your point, the Volunteer Corps, we got so many emails during COVID, people saying, what can I do to volunteer? So we had to sort of transition to virtual volunteering, but now people want to be back in the field doing things. And so today is about that just as much as it is about this great partnership. So what I'd love to do is maybe bring in our 2 sites from Detroit and Houston and just give give a little time to them to tell us what they're doing. So if we go to Detroit first.
Everybody, great Detroit.
Hello, Mike.
Hey,
Mike
team.
and I had dinner last night together. He said he was actually going to do some kind of funny thing. So what is that? I'm just kidding.
The funny thing is trying to get you back out here in the field, Mary.
Yeah, true. Love it.
We're doing great, though. We've got an awesome team out here. Obviously, you can see us assembled behind us, but we've just been out here mucking out a home that was impacted by some flooding all the way back in 2021. But we haven't forgotten about the community. We've been chipping away at homes and just trying to make sure that we can get everyone back on their feet.
So, Corey, you're out there with Mike.
To be here.
Corey, what are you up to? Why did you volunteer?
Representing Ford, representing, working with Team Rubicon. This is my second time volunteering. In April, Mary, you were here with us, and we were out in a really tough basement doing the hard work. So this partnership is awesome because it's really fun to be able to give directly back to the community. And I love what you say, Bill, about if a company isn't making people's lives better, it shouldn't exist. So it's great to be able to be out here today giving back.
Well, thank you, Corey, and thank you, Mike. I love what you're doing, and you're making us all really proud.
And Corey, you're making me look bad. You already went back. I have to tell you, the house that we had to muck out was a house that had been devastated by the floods 2 years ago. And so I don't know if you remember those floods, but they were wastewater floods, et cetera. And the house, the basement had not been touched in 2 years. And so we had come in to try to get that basement cleaned up. And this is the work that the Team Rubicon and Ford volunteers do. So I really want to thank you because it was tough work. So here we go to Houston. Houston, are you there? Hey, Houston. It's probably really hot and muggy in Houston, I would assume. Hi, Ken. Hi, Diana.
Good morning. It's super hot here in Houston. We're actually just outside of Houston in Dayton, Texas. Still working on houses that have been damaged by Hurricane Harvey. Today's our first day working on this house. We are just starting to demo stuff from the interior that was damaged from Hurricane Harvey, so we can fix this house for the homeowner and get them back in a clean, safe, secure house.
So how long will that process take, Ken?
The process will probably take around 2 months for this house.
Okay. And Diana, you've signed up. Is this your hometown, or why did you decide to come out and help?
Yeah, so I'm a second-year FCG, so I recently just joined Ford about 1.5 years ago. And I actually live in Houston, more towards the inner town city area. And I decided to volunteer, and when I heard the opportunity that there was going to be an in-person Ford volunteer opportunity, I signed up very quickly because I see how much love and passion that volunteers in Michigan do, that since I can't be in Michigan, when I heard it was here in Texas, I was so excited. So I'm very happy to see that Ford is doing such an amazing job and teaming up with Team Rubicon.
Awesome, and we'll make sure that Mike works in some more opportunities to get you guys out here to volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to issue my personal thanks to you, Diana. For those of you who don't know, it's easy to look at times like this and what we saw in Detroit, as simple donations. The reality is this partnership creates an investment that is paid back, in the homeowner and his family and the stability it brings, and that will endure for years and years and years. So 2 months from now, they may close the door, but understand that for years to come, people will walk through the front door because of Diana and Ken and Team Rubicon and each of the people you see behind them, and they'll have a brighter future because of this investment that you've made, this dedication you've made in ensuring that tomorrow is better for them. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for your help. So I know we've talked a little bit about the vehicles already, but it is an important component. As I said, one of the, I think, the most exciting things is we've always talked about how do we bring the power of Ford to our philanthropic work, because it's more than just a philanthropic arm. We have so much expertise, we have so many wonderful things, and we're a mobility company. So the idea to bring mobility to solve big problems is a big opportunity. And I'd love, Bill, like, as you think about that, how do you see it in the philanthropic space?
Yeah, you know, so for so long, what we did philanthropically really wasn't tied to our core business, and that was wrong. I mean, not that philanthropy is wrong. We did some really good things, but frankly, anybody could have done them. And so, Mary, what you've done, which is absolutely the right thing, is to bring it much closer to our core business and really make the muscle of Ford Motor Company work. Because nobody else could do this, right? These kind of vehicles and provide this kind of access. So we just need to keep doing this over and over and over again, and recognizing that, you know, bringing mobility, whether it's rescue mobility or to people who simply can't get around, those are kind of things that we can uniquely do, and that's the kind of thing we should do. It's not to say that we should give up on other philanthropy, because we have a lot of other good things going, but it's the multiplier effect when you actually bring what you do for a living to work into the philanthropic space. It's real and it's big, and we need to do more of it.
Well, I've always said that, you know, the philanthropic arm is sort of the heart of our purpose, and you're a big reason for that. You know, Bill's been just an incredible champion as it relates to our work and community, even in the tough times, and speak to that. I mean, even when things were tough, right? You were here and...
Yeah, I mean, look, the easiest thing to cut when times get tough is giving, and we refuse to do that. In fact, in some cases, we amped it up because that's when people need you the most. And, you know, Corey said it earlier, you know, I really believe that if a company isn't making people's lives better, it shouldn't exist. And we have to ask ourselves every day, are we doing that? And of course, over time, the answer to that is different. What was relevant 50 years ago may not be relevant today, but there are new opportunities today that we can go after. So, and I think that, you know, at the end of the day, working for a company like Ford, if it's just a paycheck, it's not worth it. It's just simply not worth it. You have to stand for something. You have to stand for something that your employees understand and hopefully very much embrace and believe in. And when you see the volunteers doing what they're doing, it's our values in action. So easy to talk about values, but if you don't put them into action and see them in action every single day, it gets watered down and it doesn't mean anything. And it's easy for me to sit up here and talk about them, and I do all the time. But you've got to make them real, and you've got to make them real every day, and that's what I love about your organization. I mean, you guys are amazing, and I love the fact our volunteers are doing this too.
Well, and yeah, yay. So one of the things that, you know, I do think is really interesting is we think about innovation, and we talk about innovation a lot at Ford, but there's a lot of innovation in philanthropic work as well. And, you know, you and I have talked about just these vehicles, the telematics in the vehicles. There's so much software that's really going to help you do your job better. Give us a little example of how you see that being deployed in the field.
Yeah, you know, in addition to bringing the power of the company to the disaster site, you're doing things like bringing power to the disaster site. As I talked about, you know, tornadoes and hurricanes have an incredible way of dismantling and disconnecting people from the power grid. And we can all understand from our personal experiences, you know, those types of challenges. And when we can begin to connect with products like this, I think, you know, you drive ways forward. And I think beyond that, you also, through this lens of innovation and this idea of you can make it better, or, you know, as I was challenged at dinner tonight, you know, do everything you can to break these things because they'll be better.
Wow, Jim.
You know, we challenge every one of our volunteers in the field to figure out how we can serve people better. And I think philanthropy is now is the time for innovation. Now is the time to change these norms the way it used to always be. And I'm refreshed with the conversations we've had, you know, Mary, across philanthropy, where we embrace, you know, elements of diversity and equity and inclusion, and understanding the places we're serving and why we're serving, understanding, you know, that volunteerism is something that is a privilege if we can dismantle the barriers that prevent people from doing it, you know, to the Ford, you know, volunteer corps. because we can get more people out in the field to serve communities, and together, you know, and I view this as you're building a bit of a field of dreams where hopefully other partners join the two of us and say, you know, let's make a difference together, because we all know disasters are increasing at an alarming rate. We've already had, I think, $9 billion disasters in the United States this year. On top of that, you know, we've been in 74 different operations this year already, year to date, and oftentimes it's not on the weather reports or anything like that, but those people could use people with this energy, vision, and commitment to service to help them on that worst day.
Well, that's great. And, you know, we do, I know Bill's always looked around corners at our company. He's always looking for the next thing. He's been talking about climate change and mobility and innovation for years. And just this partnership and just the way we're looking at how we can work together to really solve problems, I think is super exciting. So with that, I'd love to thank you. I'd love for you to offer any closing remarks before we sort of tell the audience what's next.
Well, I actually think we covered pretty much all the ground. I just want to say that it's an honor to support you, Art. You know, as I said, we're the most American car company. We're very proud of that, and part of that is supporting our country and its veterans. And so, and if we can do that and help communities also, that's a home run for us. So thank you so much. You're an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you. And let me echo that gratitude. You know, the reality is, if you've been able to read, you know, some of the things that the Surgeon General has talked about, this epidemic of loneliness, volunteering is mentioned 13 times in that document because it's a source of well-being. And I challenge any of you in blue shirts or in gray shirts to go home tonight and say, I didn't get something out of this experience. I don't feel like I helped somebody, you know. Those things are intrinsic in kind of our DNA to serve each other and take care of one another. So I think this is one of those opportunities where, you know, the Ford Fund and Ford and Team Rubicon, we're pulling the starting gun, and let's get out there and serve more communities, and let's serve more people. Let's be more ready, and let's do amazing things that people think are improbable.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Thank you again. I really appreciate you joining me. And also, I just wanted to thank all of you. I really would be remiss if I didn't thank the teams who pulled this all together. It's really been a collaboration between communications, marketing, the Ford Fund, on and on. So thank you so much. For those of you who are here today, this is also an employee celebration, a volunteer celebration. And so what we'd love for you to do is we have food trucks. We hope you'll stay for lunch. Come and learn about Team Rubicon. Come and learn about how you can volunteer. We really, as Bill said, are reinvigorating the volunteer corps. Time is now to sign up and get to work in communities across the country. And I just want to thank everybody and have a great day and volunteer.
These lights, so bright, like the glow I see right round your soul. You shine so bright, so out to me that you don't know. Ooh, you make me feel like I wanna dance. Feel like I wanna dance. No, I can't stop moving. No, I can't stop moving. Throw your hands up, feel the beat, light it up. No, I can't stop moving. These lights, so bright, like the glow I see right